Welcome back to Tasteland. I am Francis Zira.
And I'm Daisy Aliotto.
Daisy, who are we speaking to today?
Today we're speaking with Daniel Spielberger. He's a writer and editor based in Los Angeles and has written for outlets such as Interview, Them, Los Angeles Review of Books, and Vogue. He's the executive editor of Study Hall, and he hosts the Study Hall podcast. Always fun to have a fellow podcaster on, which Francis went on earlier in the year. Daniel, still waiting for my invite.
Tisk tisk.
He also runs an immersive profile project called Daniel Docs, which we did together earlier in the year. And it is an interview that takes place entirely in a Google Doc.
It's basically like, it's like being edited. It's being edited as a profile.
Yes.
Yeah. Something funny happened to me yesterday. You know, when you're on, you see those like videos on Instagram of somebody on a train and they're like, and somebody's drawing them.
Yes.
You know? So I was going to Manhattan for a minor doctor's appointment, and I've got like one stop left. And this guy next to me is like, "Hey man, like, do you mind if I draw you? I take donations." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's see where this is going." And I know I have a $5 in my pocket. I'm like, okay, I'll give him a $5. You have 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. Train gets delayed. I know this is an audio podcast, so it's like a horrible story. It's the worst portrait I've ever seen. And I'm handing him the $5. And he's handing me the portrait as it happens. I'll text you it after this. It's so bad.
To see it. But is it like so bad it's camp?
Yeah. I mean, everybody I shared it with thought it was so funny. You know, quotes include, "This is priceless." Okay.
$5 well spent.
$5 well spent. Other thing I did, I went to the much hyped Cameron Winter at Carnegie Hall.
Did you buy your tickets on the primary market or the secondary market?
I bought them when they were released back in like May for $45.
Yeah, you're a Virgo. You have your shit together.
Precisely.
Also, we were like, well, I don't know that we ever talked about Cameron Winter on this pod, but I guess you and I were kind of early to him relative to him being like
we've
really
gandered on geese plenty here.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I want to say about the show, it was good, right? But there's this feeling around, and we're talking about it now, so part of the problem, but there's this feeling around it that's like when you go to MoMA and see people taking photographs of Starry Night, or, you know, when you see the photographs of people taking photographs of the Mona Lisa.
I saw way too many videos of the concert, I'll say that off the bat.
And let me say, I took one, and I did post it on my Instagram story, so I am part of the problem. And as I was taking it, it's the song
Je suis un problème.
Precisely. It's the song Drinking Age. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. From now on, this is who I'm going to be. Something like, I'm a piece of meat. And I'm like taking a video like right before or after that happens. I forget. I hung my head in shame. But okay, like there's this GQ article to, you know, inside the mega sold out Cameron Winter show. Inside Cameron Winter's extremely sold out show.
Hit my number of free articles on Old Gentleman's Quarterly.
Well, you know how to get around people. Great photographs by Bo and Fernie. But the photographs too, they're kind of this like really warm tone. They're really good.
Who did
and
they
the whole
have
thing
video it? It's somebody famous.
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson and Benny Safdie were filming it, which I'm, you know, the nose was bleeding.
Together, or they're each putting their own auteur take on it.
Surely together. But yeah, I could see, you know, I wear glasses. I said it's not so great. And I'm pretty far up there. I was like, it kind of looks like Paul Thomas Anderson. And then I was affirmed on Twitter later it was Paul Thomas Anderson. But okay, all this to say, it was a great show and I enjoyed it. But I also had a deeper enjoyment of a show I went to a week previously, which was Blood Orange at Brooklyn Steel.
The best.
And so my point is like, I think there's let's just wait a little while, right?
They were
like
in my
I think
Spotify Wraps.
This may be an historic concert by the young man at Carnegie Hall, but there's just such this eagerness to make a self-fulfilling prophecy here. It's like, can we like look back on this in 5 years, 10 years? Can we not be like, I was there? And I'm doing it now, but I just think we all need to chill a little bit. It was a good show, but like it was
culture
not
moves really
the best show I've
quickly.
ever seen.
People have a sense of more of a sense of like pre-nostalgia.
Yeah.
But I also think like because of the topics that we talk about on this podcast, it's important not to create a trap where penalize people for having good taste, what in the rare occasions that good taste becomes temporarily monocultural.
Yeah.
Like, I think I reflexively find myself trying to do like a cultural critique. And then I'm like, you know what? Sometimes
Let
good
people
things
enjoy
become,
things.
yeah, let people enjoy tasteful things for sure. And, selling out is real, but, this is somebody who kind of speed ran being on the fringe to being seemingly everywhere in a slice of the American public that we engage with the most, which is not representative of the rest of the American public. And I think that's something to celebrate.
Okay, you're right. No, you're right. I think the issue here is that I need to spend less time looking at after the fact content about a thing I attended in real life.
Well, I think you're struggling with trying to balance making a memory with kind of the ick of being a performative fan.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
But I think it's okay to make a memory. And it's okay to like reinforce that memory in your synapses by engaging with other people that were there, because there's a lot of demands on your attention. And I think it's your way of saying like, I want to like relive this particular authentic experience that I had.
Yeah. I will say, to throw some egg on my face here, just briefly, if I haven't already done that, I've never been part of a standing ovation before an encore this long.
Wow.
And I sat back down and actually prepared to leave as well. I was like, he's not going to do it. And then he comes back out and I'm like, okay, well, good. We'll stay. When my jacket's on, we're going to stay. I'm glad I stayed. It was nice. We can move on.
No, I have been engaging with this through clips that have come up on my TikTok, and I've been sick. So I've been watching like a lot of TikTok.
What's the screen time past couple days?
It's nice to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
Dude, I don't even want to look, but I did also read some books.
Wasn't that nice?
And I'm midway through Gilead by Marilyn Robinson, which is one of Barack Obama's favorite books. He famously interviewed her for the New York
Our greatest
Review of
living
Books.
critic.
Yeah, in 2015. And I've been hearing about this book for a while. I'm finally reading it, and it is as good as everyone says. Congratulations on your engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes. I was genuinely surprised. We were talking about it was going to happen, but I was genuinely surprised how it happened, which is rare for me to be surprised because I usually am pretty aware of everything that's going to happen.
That's the best balance, like where you're mentally prepared for the event, but there's still some aspect of it that is surprising.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I was on the Brent took me to like at the top of this mountaintop, like this like military bunker in Oahu. And they were so windy that the whole time he set up his camera, and he's like a perfectionist with photography, and he was setting up his camera for 10 minutes. And I was just like, we're going to get blown away on this mountain. Like, what are you doing?
Well, you were blown away.
Yeah.
No, but like literally. And there was like like all this cactus next to us. And there was like my glasses in his bag and this. I was like, babe, can we just take the selfie and go? And then he like popped the question. I felt so bad, but I think that's the key to surprise me, is like make me really, really anxious. So I'm thinking about like vertigo and everything, but
you did get the pic.
We did get the pic. These very nice French hikers were there and took a photo for us. So
nice.
Love wins.
Like the selfie went viral, really viral, and you got like 10K likes on Twitter.
That was surprising. That was surprising. The oomphs came through,
dude.
But
yeah,
and every one of those, Brett was like, all of those people are invited to the wedding. Everyone who liked that.
That's gonna be expensive.
There was a great thing embedded about like the two tracks of Twitter right now, where it's like stuff either really takes off or doesn't get any engagement, and like a random photo of Ben and I took off, and I like kind of got scared. I was like, "What's going on?"
Scary.
My friend Heather, or she's a mutual.
These are not my oomphs.
Met her.
Yeah.
Her like birthday, being her like photo where she was like, I'm 37, like that took off, and she came back and was like, what the hell is going on?
It's scary because the moment you cross the 2K threshold, you start getting quote tweets being like, questioning your like your IQ level, or it gets personal, and then you have to just like be like, okay, this is like has left a circle of Twitter that I'm not familiar with, and just let it rock.
I've got a very kind of clear vision of your dynamic through this important microcosm of your relationship. So I have to know what each of your zodiac signs are.
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm an Aries.
Okay.
And he is a Taurus. Brent's a Taurus.
Yeah.
And we actually, so we live in LA, and we went to one of these like woo-woo shops to get incense and like all this stuff. And then we got our like chart read, and they were like, you guys are perfectly exalted. This guy was like, you guys are like perfectly aligned. And then afterwards I was like, do you think this guy just says that to like every couple so he can sell like $500 crystals? You know, like
yes.
who's gonna like do a chart reading and be like, you guys need to rethink things? But
I believe you guys are exalted, but I also do believe that he says that to everyone.
I think he has to.
Well, wait. Speaking about LA, right before you came on, Daisy was talking about how she just in a lobotomized post-COVID state watched I Love LA. I've been seeing you tweet about it. I haven't watched it at all.
I was going to skip it, but I did watch it.
What are you? Did you watch? Are you caught up to episode 7?
Oh yeah, but I was gonna say like I got to the end and I was like, wait, that's it? Like, Girls episodes were famously half an hour, but I feel like they fit so much into that half hour.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think speaking of Twitter and things going viral, I tweeted that episode 7 is where it's found its like footing, like what it wants to be, and a lot of the early reviews I was reading were saying that it doesn't know if it wants to be Girls or Entourage, but I actually think it's like a Gen Z Entourage, because like the stakes aren't these interpersonal relationships of like what it means to be a good friend or what it means to be a good partner. Like that's there as like for narrative momentum sometimes, but it's actually about like influencer economy, booking the big dinner, booking the big photo shoot, booking that. Like those are the stakes. And some people were like, "Oh, these are actually millennials, and these are millennials." Like, I don't really care about that. I mean, like when I mean like Gen Z, I mean like what does it mean to be famous as like a Gen Z person? And that I think is what I Love LA is showing, is like you don't really know what this type of influencer is. She's just kind of like an empty vessel for anything, and that's why like she ends up in that like laughably woke.
This is the
commercial.
Rachel Sennett character.
Yeah, no, Rachel Sennett is the manager, and then Odessa is kind of like this like hot influencer who's kind of like her blank canvas, and she's trying to like ride her coattails to like get to New York, which is true. Everyone in LA is trying to get to New York, so that's an astute observation. But I think that it's like it started off a little bit awkward, but I'm optimistic about the show now. But that was a controversial opinion for some reason.
It's a show for 27-year-olds. And I say that in a very neutral way.
I'm spiritually 27. I don't know.
Yeah, I think 27 is a great age. But I will say, I feel like, I think I met Ben when I was 27. But I do feel like my life really started at 28.
Yeah, I think that's the show. Yeah, I think it shows like 27, like professional angst. And yeah, I don't think it's like the perfect show, but it's enjoyable for now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, I found it watchable. I wasn't watching it like, oh my God, this is horrible. But yeah, it's. I guess it's like from your perspective as somebody who like watches entertainment and critiques it at like a higher level as well. Like when you write a show where the stakes are not as evergreen as the nature of like love and friendship and confidence, finding yourself, is it possible that you're writing something for the moment, but you're not creating something timeless?
Of course. Yeah. I think this show will not age well, and that's okay. Just like how Entourage doesn't age well. I remember like when the Entourage movie came out, I think Vulture wrote like a really fantastic piece about how it's like really impossible to place what year the Entourage movie takes place. And it's like so fascinating. But if you watch the Entourage now, it's like a lot of cameos from people that you don't care about anymore, or like the stakes are things. I mean, like people still care about movies, but it's just like a kind of like an antiquated notion of fame. So I don't think this show will age that well. A lot of the humor is very specific to like internet, and like on episode 7, there was like that joke about Rachel Sennett pretending to be Jewish. And that's just like, you have to be very online to get that joke, because it's like all about how she was in Shiva Baby, but she's not Jewish and she passes as Jewish. So allegedly.
I think we'll find out she is eventually.
She needs to do, Mr. Beast needs to buy 23andMe, and they need to go on Twitch and do like a live stream of her 23andMe.
Yeah.
Okay, something.
This is the type of genetic scrutinization that I support.
Okay, we're gonna.
Can I just say like one more thing, Francis?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to like come up with the definition of prestige TV that doesn't rely on like other definitions of prestige. I've always felt that prestige is really understood through the rewatch. That like there's something about prestige television that like when you rewatch it, the experience compounds.
Yeah.
Rather than like you revisit something. And so like Mad Men, Sopranos, Now Girls, all shows I hear people talk about rewatching, and the experience of rewatching is this very distinct thing. Maybe it's because I'm like an East Coast girly. I don't hear a lot of people talking about rewatching Entourage.
Yeah, people don't rewatch. They don't.
Well,
the
rewatching.
Yeah,
the rewatching is something about like, or the prestige TV is less about the rewatching, because like my fiance rewatches like 30 Rock and Veep all the time, but those aren't prestige TV. The prestige TV aspect is like the show as like being a rich text, like in a literary sense, that then the rewatching is about like revisiting it and rereading it with new eyes now that you're a few years older, and it's what it says about the human experience is slightly different, right? It's like it's something about that,
right? You like rewatch it to deepen your interpretation of the show, not to comfort yourself.
Yeah, well, the rewatch is like the Torah. Like you read the Torah every year, and like each time.
So true. It's too bad Rachel Snow never know anything about that. Or is it Snow or Senate?
I think it's Senate, but I don't know.
Is it Snow? The bodies
She's
of water
a French
in Mexico?
Jew, so we say it's Snow.
Snow makes it seem like she has like a semiotext, like chapbook about like post-structuralist therery and
100%.
and like the war on terror,
and it's just like called like horse, and then there's like a 500 word subtitle.
Okay, no, I want to talk about Twitter discourse flavor of the week. The Wall Street Journal article: companies are desperately seeking storytellers, which I've seen a million quote tweets. I'm going to read one brief excerpt from it that is like some hard data, at least, which is the percentage of LinkedIn job postings in the US that include the term storyteller doubled in the year ended November 26th to include some 50,000 listings under marketing and more than 20,000 job listings under media and communications that mention the term, according to the professional networking platform. So yeah, that's takes aside. Apparently, the word is being used twice as much in job postings on LinkedIn as it was a year previously.
It kind of reminds me, like in 2017, wasn't like Ninja and Hacker and like all that stuff. Rockstar Wizard. And that was happening a lot in the startup world because everything was like about disruption. Like that was the time where you can like go into a job interview and be like, you guys are fucking whack. And then you get the job because you
got it. Creative director, I think.
You guys are doing everything wrong. And then you get the job. I guess now, I don't know. I think storyteller, is it because like everyone wants like a TikTok influencer or like video content and like follow the brand through this journey? Is that what's trending right now?
I think it's because it's because there's too much of everything. And so it's like, I'm interpreting this as like, they want somebody who can build a narrative. It's just like another word for marketing, right? It's like somebody who can like, it's marketing plus comms. We want somebody who can like give our brand a place in the conversation and like sell the philosophy of our brand. It's just the latest iteration of marketing.
Former guest of the pod, Reggie James, texted me this morning. No context, no greeting, just like, I'm sick of this. And I was like, I assume that you're referring to the Wall Street Journal article. And he was like, yes, I am.
Well, he's been tweeting about because he's written about this topic many times in his newsletter and probably on his
We all have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the Wall Street Journal covering is kind of like, that means like it's like the last.
It's over.
Breath. It's over. It's kind of
the
over.
last storyteller. Please turn the lights out.
The last storyteller. But
we're living in the end of his storytelling.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, it's just like define what a story is. Because like when I'm going through TikTok and Instagram Reels or watching like Bethany Frankel like freak out about like a chicken salad and that's the stuff that gets traction. Is that really a story, or is that like a very manic vignette that like we're all like latching onto because it's kind of like so absurd that we can't help it?
I think it's like the story, like a story in this definition is like a thing that people listen to, right? Like that's what it is. It's about building a narrative that people will pay attention to and listen to.
Look, guys, we tell ourselves stories in order to live. We don't tell ourselves stories in order to make money.
In order to sell B2B SaaS?
Yeah, I think.
Has that happened? Like, has someone done a Joan Didion, like, brainy quote in a deck? Do you think that's happened before?
Many times, Danielle, more times than you would ever want to know. Maybe even I myself has done this. Yeah, I actually was working on it.
I myself has done this. That was great.
It's terrible. Yeah, I myself has done this. It's like a slide in the appendix. I think the interesting thing, though, I was talking about this with former guest of the pod, Danny Loftus. Actually, sorry guys, I only speak to people who have been on this podcast or will be on this podcast. My social circle is small, but we all crazy. We were talking about how some of the loudest voices on, I guess, tech Twitter, VC Twitter, I would say the investors in particular that will engage with these ideas and like really hype up the word of the moment, whether it's like storytelling or taste or like narrative or, whatever, friction, which is, I would argue, like we're all describing the same phenomenon, which is like that which is not slop. Even slop itself, like there was old words for this, like slop's the new one. We're like reinventing the wheel. They're very loud. They do not invest in companies whose primary differentiator is like storytelling or that are optimized for storytelling. They will still, at the end of the day, when they're sitting in that room, invest in the most boring idea that's going to print money. And it's very confusing. It was very confusing for me when I was first started like engaging in this world, because I'd be like, wait, why do they keep talking about this skill set, which is the skill set that I have? But like you go to the company, you look at what they're actually investing in, ChatGPT wrapper, like whatever, go to market AI agent crap. So you have to take it all with a grain of salt. And I think that's how you kind of defeat this mentality. Like take from it what you want to and like what's useful to you, but can't really expect people whose job is based on like predicting the next $1 billion company. And now it's like more than $1 billion because there's like so many unicorns. We're experiencing like unicorn inflation. Like you can't really expect them to like walk the walk, and they're not really telling the truth. But I think it's helpful to get a little bit of an edge in the attention economy that sort of surrounds investing. So like doing thought leadership, being a good storyteller, like coming up with new words for things, having a Substack. Those are all things that will like get you in the room and get you intros. But that's like not what you sell once you're in the room. And it took me like maybe too long to figure that out. I think it took a lot of people too long to figure that out. I can't even say that I have totally figured it out at this point. But I think a lot of people pushing this narrative are full of shit, but I still think storytelling is important at the end of the day.
Yeah, that is interesting. I think like storytelling is kind of like the trendy word. And like I've been thinking a lot about like pitching projects. Like last year I started the Daniel Docs, Google Docs interview series, and now like
How do you quantify the success of that?
Okay, yes. Okay, so to explain, Daniel Docs is like a Google Docs interview series where I send someone a Google Doc and they get to suggest edits on my copy and like answer questions. So how do I quantify the success of a Daniel Doc? I think there are two modes. I imagine you guys like feel this too. There's like the mode of like the very cynical like social media traffic mode. So like when the interviewee accepts like collaboration and then like it goes a little viral, or like one screenshot goes viral. There's one where like it ended up in a Joanna Newsom Facebook group or something like that, where it travels. That's always like really exciting when it travels. But then there's kind of like the success to me is that when someone returns their Daniel Doc and it really feels like they let themselves talk about storytelling, be themselves in the doc. And that's really exciting to me because like we're talking about like chasing trends, and so much right now is like video. And I'm like trying to be like, we still need to value the written word, but we need to find ways to like break through the noise with the written word. So like that to me is like the success is like when someone responds to one of the writing prompts and like really shows like their personality.
Did you come up with this? Like you were like editing somebody and you're like, oh, I'm going to screenshot this and post this? Because it's basically what it is. It's like yeah.
I've been really, really like obsessed with Google Docs for years. So the long lore, my fascination with Google Docs started in San Francisco. The year is 2017. I'm dating around and there's a Grindr prospect and I accidentally I was like, lightly going on the internet, seeing who he is. I click on his Google Doc portfolio and I think I show up as like an anonymous giraffe or something like that. And then he tweets being like, I see you in this Google Doc. And I was so horrified.
Did he know it was you?
No, but it was
anonymous giraffe.
I was anonymous giraffe. But then, so I was always like so interested in how passive aggressive and like fun Google Docs can be. Like get out of this Google Doc, or like
did that to Greta yesterday.
It's like, what are you doing in this Google Doc? And like the suggested edits and getting the emails with suggested edits and this exchange and this kind of like deconstructive aspect to it. So I like last year, I was just feeling in a place like a lot of writers, like, you know, like there's not that many places that are accepting like the middle ground of like people who are like, it's either the person has to be like super, super famous, you know, and like no one's doing like this, like, you know, like the medium, smaller artist, writer, or the person who's still coming up. And I was like, okay, so how do I like spotlight this like podcaster or this comedian or this writer that I really enjoy in a way that is like unique and also embraces my fear of self-publishing, which is like the typos, the clunky sentences, the factual errors, all this stuff that like I get really obsessive about. I'm like, why don't I just like incorporate that into the process?
I love it. Nice. It's really novel. And I love a participatory interview.
Thank you. And you guys did a great job on your Daniel Doc.
Yeah, we had fun.
We did have fun. It was great. I want to ask about an article that I admittedly have not read, but friend of the pod, Greta Rainbow.
Speaking of Greta Rainbow,
you just published a piece. I read the first. I'll be honest. Yeah, I read the first few paragraphs before the subscriber gate, but I haven't read more. Tell me about this piece.
Francis and I sort of outgrew study hall, but
it's okay. Okay. But so if you're listening, you can read it if you give us your email, top of the funnel strategy people. And
there you go.
And you'll get like a weekly or bi-weekly.
Study hall has my email. I should have just logged in.
You should have logged in.
Now that I think
you should have read it.
God, this is
but but Greta's fantastic, and it's this it's like this obituary for this farmer's almanac, and it's kind of like it's talking about like why it, not like necessarily why it went out of business, but like what it means that it did, and kind of like the fandom around it on like social media, and why were people lamenting this, and how like esoteric and idiosyncratic this publication was. And what I really like about it is that I feel like it's like the ideal study hall story, because it like highlights like kind of like a quarter of the media that's not really covered. but it shows like what media means to like the people.
Mm.
And Greta did a great job, and my co-editor Eloise Goldsmith did a great job helping out with edits too.
Speaking of Study Hall, you host the podcast there. I've been on. You've been doing it for just over a year. I think it's a year and 2 weeks as we record. There's been 55 episodes. How's it going?
It's going really. It's going well. I think that plus Daniel Talks has shown me. Daisy does a lot of you do a lot of publicist posting sometimes where you talk about like publicists and like the booking, and like that's the part I'm like getting used to, is like booking and all the stuff and like scheduling. Today I'm actually downstairs because my fiance was like, your office is a mess and you need to look good on this podcast. So I'm still learning what it means to look good on a podcast, and I'm sure that's for transparency.
Aren't we all?
I kind of gave up after episode 3. I was like, that's enough of that.
But I was going to do Botox for this, but did not.
You kept tweeting about it. I was saying you could, if you had the needles, you could do it yourself live on the pod.
I think the baby bangs are plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. But the podcast it's been interesting. Like, it's just, I think I enjoy when someone has like a book and to like really like delve into the book, because that was something I really enjoyed doing as like a culture writer, and now like talking through it has been very, very like illuminating. And yeah, I think like as you guys are probably aware, like everyone has a take of like how media will survive, like what's going to happen next in media. So I just kind of treat it as like I'm picking people's brains. I kind of have like, not to be like I'm Joe Rogan, but I have kind of like the Joe Rogan style of interviewing where I'm like, I like kind of like regurgitate what someone's saying back to them, but doesn't necessarily mean like I totally agree. But it's like that's kind of how I'm treating it, as like I'm doing like a focus group of the week of like how media will survive.
What are some of like the more memorable recent how media will survive takes that people have been giving you?
So Max Tani's is going to be on the next episode. That's from Semaphore, and that was interesting because we were talking about like the different approaches to AI, and like I started off as very like anti-AI, but like through reading, like listening to his interviews with David Remnick and like how other companies are kind of like just that was interesting because of we talk about like the Washington Post and their like really sloppy AI podcast and how awful that is. But that was good too because it was like legacy media acknowledging that they need to let writers like be creators too, and not like just creators, but like also have like their cult of personality and not be so touchy about them having Substacks and having their own personal brand. Delia came on, and she had a lot of like smart things to say about the Barry Weiss deal. Those come to mind.
Some would say we have too much media about media, but I think mileage varies. Like for you,
guilty.
Where do you see the distinction between media about media that actually is teaching something or explaining something about the business, offering new information, and then media about media that's just sort of like a way of chasing clout with like a very small group of people?
I think so. Like, I feel like the clout. I'm always very wary of someone who's like hyping one product, one platform, one way of doing things. And it's funny because like I think it's more honest when people approach these topics as like, you could make it really big on Substack, you could make it really big on Beehive, but doesn't mean you will. And this is what it means, and this is what it takes. And like, I feel like Delia does a good job of that too, of like, what is the hustle of
Alicia Kennedy is another person that comes to mind.
We had Alicia on too, and she was great because she was talking about like how she approaches building community, building like she has like a Discord channel, and like we were talking about how like if people want to hate, they'll have to pay to get into the Discord.
How are you hating from outside the Discord? You can't even get in.
Exactly. You have to get into the club, pay the cover fee. But yeah, so I think like that, but the clout chasing of it all I think it's so relative. Like I'm sure somebody like it thinks like, oh, this like I'm more of like I'm willing to talk to like most people, but some people have different lines in the sand of like who they're willing to talk to. But for me, it's not about like cloud. It's more about like perspective and information that can be valuable to the audience, whether they agree or disagree.
Well, you're also serving such a purpose with like the study hall community, right? It's like it's such a service to like writers and people trying to get work in the industry.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like when I was designing the podcast or like the questions, I always try to like end on a note of like advice and like what advice they have, but because my goal is so that like it's accessible for people who are not writers and just are interested in the reporting this writer did or have like some sort of like or fans of the writer, but also if a writer's listening to be like, oh, like how did they do it? How will they do it next? And it's pretty expansive. Like, so I know that Dirt published a piece about like braided essays, and so when I feel like as a writer too, like the braided essay, the braided memoir is so hard to pull off. So I always, when someone has like a braided essay that's really good or like a braided memoir, I'm like, how did you do it? What's your approach? Because I know that's like very valuable to writers.
There was a great braided essay. Actually, I wouldn't say it was braided. It was more like, it was in the style of Janet Malcolm. So it was like numbered sections. It's in the winter edition of the Yale Review. It's about divorce. I don't know if you saw it. It just came out yesterday.
Oh, I heard people
really
post. Yeah, I saw people post it. Yeah, I need to read that.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Yeah, we did write something about the braided essay.
And wasn't it that self-same Greta Rainbow who wrote
Greta?
it?
Yes.
Yeah, that girl keeps coming up. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Craft is really important, and craft and power are not the same thing. Like, as you were talking, I was thinking we are sort of in this golden age of the micro celebrity. I know you were being like somewhat facetious where you're like, oh, I'm not going after the micro celebrities. I'm like going after like the pre-micro celebrities. And it's like, how far back do you want to go? I feel like I can spot a pre-micro celebrity at this point. And it's like everyone will be famous for 15 minutes, blah, blah, blah. You know, Andy Warhol said that 200 years ago. So I guess like, there is people who become micro celebrities because of their craft, and people who become micro celebrities because they're good at talking about and accumulating social power. And it's hard to be a fence sitter. I feel like some of the most interesting people are fence sitters, but I know where my allegiance lies, and it's always with people who become who have a following for their craft. And I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I'm just like, how many people can be on the power beat? You know, like somebody has to be creating like net new culture. It's everything's so muddied. I don't know if that is that making sense?
So like media reporting as like a crowded field, or like that the power beat is like,
I don't think it's a crowded field in the sense that like media reporting is business reporting, is fashion reporting, is tech reporting. And that did not start with these writers. I think it started, like, if I had a like point in my mind where this like happened, it's like, you know, probably around when Entourage was first airing, when like tech people took over Art Basel, and like being a creative director was something that you could do not just for a fashion house, but for like non-fashion brands. I feel like that's the moment where like category collapse like really ramped up. But I think Art Basel is such, and I guess the city of Miami itself is such a flashpoint for this to me, because I see people flying down to Basel that are like, you know, whatever, they trade Solana, and I'm like, you do not belong there. But then I'm like, you know, maybe you do, and it's that the artists don't belong there anymore, and like you can have it till it falls into the ocean, basically.
Well, I haven't been to Art Basel, but my impression is that it's like a lot of people who want like the affect of art and not like the art itself, really. So it's like you think of like a Marina Abramović.
Couldn't you say the same thing about power? Like, isn't there a problem with so many people who want to call themselves writers or reporters or entrepreneurs that they want the affect of power, but they don't want power itself and the responsibility that comes with it?
Yeah, I'm wondering like what you define as the responsibility of someone who makes it.
Well, I feel like this came up really early on this podcast, but I have this thing that I say, which is like, you don't get the credibility of a media brand with the obligations of a zine. People don't want to have to choose between doing a DIY zine side project and running a media company. They really want us to do the DIY zine side project where they don't have to worry about like paying people in perpetuity or giving somebody health insurance or funding it or like, explaining where they got the money to start it. But then they want people to look at them and be like, you are the next Tina Brown. And at a certain point, those paths diverge. And I think it's really painful because once you take on the mantle of power in the sense that like anyone who commissions writers has power, right? Like I have power because somebody emails me and they pitch me a story and I have the $400 that they're going to get paid and they don't have that $400. So I am in a position of power over them. Like once you get to that point, the risk is like, if you make a mistake or you behave irresponsibly or somebody's unhappy with something that you did, you don't get to say like, this is my side project, so who cares? Or like, no money exchanged or like, well, like, it's not like I'm after like a profile in the New York Times. Some people start off with the New York Times profile first and then still try to pull the DIY side project card. And I think that like people are starting to get savvier about this of like, wait a minute, like, what's really going on here? What is the nature of this project? But I think like, I think people can kind of benefit, like, or people have used that sort of ambiguity to their advantage in the past. And like, it really is like a pet peeve of mine. Cause I think like media literacy is like pretty low and like, you need to pick a lane and stick to it. Cause ultimately like the only person you're harming is yourself if you can't be clear about your ambitions and your expectations.
No, yeah, I think that is totally true. And I think like, that's the thing I think a lot about with like my own like Substack projects. It's like, is this, like a business or like a zine project? And like, what is it? And like, it started gaining momentum and I'm like, ooh, like I think I'm like, to be transparent, it's like figuring out, like, when do I paywall it or what do I do? Or like, but I'm still like in the growth stage of it. And that is true. And it's like, and I feel like I think like everybody does make mistakes, but the for me, like the zine aspect is about like self-expression and just letting letting the ideas rip and like let it vibe and not having the pressure of this has to be perfect. This has to, but the zine mentality that I agree with you, I don't vibe with is like, we'll pay you with exposure or we'll pay you with that, So I think, that is definitely like a dynamic and it is a sketchy dynamic.
Well, is Daniel Doc something you would paywall or like, is it more of like a Steam Valve project where it's like, this is just something you do for fun to like mess around and there's not the pressure?
What I think eventually I would paywall it, but now I'm just trying. My goal is to get Lena Dunham to do a Daniel Doc, and then after that happens, I'll get back to you. So
then you can print the book. Then you can print the zine.
Yeah. So I think of it as like I view it as like a long-term project, and I also view it as like fundamentally as a place to spotlight authors because authors, as you guys are likely aware, like book coverage is kind of dead at mainstream outlets, or like not completely dead, but it's either happening in-house or they're just writing about the same 5 books. And
you wouldn't know that from the publicists I've interacted with.
But so I'm on Thursday. I'm releasing like the Daniel Doc syllabus for 2025, and it's like all the authors I interviewed and their books, like with bookshop links, and so and that's like an experiment for me. I'll like dig into the data of like the links and all that to see like what what would the Daniel Doc's version of a gift guide be. So but you were talking about the publicist, like, so you're saying that the publicist.
Well, here's a timely example. I couldn't get a galley of American Canto. I had a writer who wanted to review it, and I have a conspiracy theory about this actually. So some people did get galleys, obviously, but some people weren't. I know other people weren't able to get them because they tweeted. I was like, I don't want to admit this publicly, but I'm okay with it now because I have a broader point, which is this conspiracy theory. I think Simon & Schuster realized this book is fucking torched. Like, we're fucked. Like, Olivia's not going to do a real press tour. This Ryan Lisa stuff's coming down the pipeline. Everyone's going to realize she's full of shit. So who are the only people that are going to buy this book? Journalists and people who are interested in the media industry and publishing. And who usually gets books for free as galleys? Those same people. I think they realized if they gave galleys to everyone who was asking for one, that was going to be books sold, like a book sale that they would not make. And they were like, shit, we can like sell 500 books right now if we just refuse to give out galleys to these 500 people who normally would get galleys of like anything. Sally Rooney, fucking anything. I've never had trouble getting a galley before. My response was like, honestly, fuck you. And like, I was not actually going directly with her publicist. I was speaking with another publicist at the imprint that I actually really like. Shout out to Rena if you're listening to this. But like, when it wasn't like immediate, yes, I'm sending you a PDF right now, I was like, oh, suddenly I actually, first of all, don't even care anymore. Second of all, like, you've made an enemy. So, I mean, not that I wasn't already an enemy, but like, I was like, this is actually a ridiculous way to do a book promotion cycle. And if you look at like, we have something coming out today that isn't only about Olivia Nuzzi, but talks about like her underperformance. And we're calling it like a tightly controlled, clout optimized dirtbag book tour, where she wanted to hit Adam Friedland. She wanted to hit Feed Me. She wanted to hit How Long Gone. I'm sure she's gagging for a Throwing Fits invite if she's not already recording with them. I'm sure she's gagging to be on Perfectly Imperfect if she hasn't already been interviewed. And it's like, we get it. But you know who pays attention to that? 10,000 people, maybe.
Yeah.
10,000 bi-coastal people. And you're going to convert maybe 10% of them into buying the book. So to me, it's like Simon & Schuster, like, shame on them, honestly, for not having better control of their writer. Like, you're going to pay in advance to somebody and you can't get them to do real fucking press. Like, shame on you. Shame on you. Because all of the hardworking writers who would actually go out there and sell their shit to people who aren't clouded. Like, if you look at real writers, like real serious writers like Erin Summers, Erin Summers had an amazing, and she's a friend of mine, obviously. She had an amazing press tour for her book, right? But she sat with, from my perspective, every Substack that asked her, every newsletter that asked her.
She was on the Study Hall podcast. Yes.
She was on this, which I wouldn't even say like, oh, Small Potatoes, Study Hall podcast. You know, our friend Ethan, who you've had on the podcast, and we had a great conversation with Ethan. Ethan doesn't have a huge audience for his Substack, but he interviews interesting people, and he interviewed Erin. Like, the fact that like somebody thinks that they're above that when like nobody buys books, you're going to turn down the opportunity to sell, maybe a few copies. It's like, you're not above it. Your publisher's not above it. And all you're doing is contributing to the death spiral of this industry.
Yeah, I remember her. Yes, I totally agree.
Like, and nobody wants to get out. Nobody wants to work anymore. Get out there and work.
Exactly. The wise words of Kim Kardashian. But because the book scan, when your book scan numbers leak in the first week, that means someone has a vendetta against you. But
no, I don't see it that way. It's not, to me, it's not a leak. Like, okay, so I actually recently looked into this because I was like, maybe I could buy BookScan. Why did I think I could buy BookScan? I don't know. So BookScan, Nielsen sold it to like a private equity group that like rebundled it with some other like data services. BookScan's a data service. The taboo around like making those numbers public, it was only a taboo. It was considered impolite. Why? We don't know. Like, is it impolite to say how many protein bars David has sold? No, we love doing that. So I was like, I think it's good that this taboo has been broken because numbers are power. Everyone always said, oh, BookScan's so expensive. It's prohibitively expensive. I looked into it. This is what I think it is. Maybe I'm missing some sort of qualifier. $2,500 a year. Now, do I want to pay that? No. Could I pay it? Yes, I could. Like, if Dirt did another round of funding, like, I would be going ham and BookScan like Scrooge McDuck in those dollar bills because it's so fascinating.
You guys should do like BookScan, Book Crave, and it's like Like
we would start a newsletter. We would start a newsletter that was just rerunning their numbers.
But the point about the Olivia Nuzzi memoir, which I have, but I bought it using credit card points, so it felt ethically neutral.
Totally.
But
cancels out. Are we talking like Chase Sapphire here?
I'm not going to reveal the credit card, but I used credit card points.
Yeah.
And I have it because for me, it felt like a novelty. I like novelty books, like novelty memoirs. And I was like, I need this for my collection. I also have like Barbara Streisand's book. Will I ever read it? Probably not.
Did you buy Barbara Streisand's book with credit card?
Someone gave it to me, but I'm like keeping it because it's like, I collect these like novelty celebrity memoirs, and this is such a moment. But for my Max Tani episode for the Study Hall podcast, I was listening to his conversation with Derek Thompson, the Abundance guy. And he was talking about how Abundance sold like hundreds of thousands of copies. But his theory, he was using like this metaphor about like pebbles in a river or boulders in a river. Like what books now are about like all the content around books and like the conversations. And I totally agree with you, like that they really, really like fucked up the PR for it. But when Ryan Lizza was releasing those Substack posts and it got hundreds.
And still is. Like he did one yesterday. I was like,
he needs to stop.
Read the room. Like Rob Reiner and his wife were just murdered.
Yeah, enough. But that got hundreds of thousands of views, supposedly, like all the Substacks, and went very, very viral. And to me, it's just like, like hearing Derek Thompson's take, I was like, whatever, to actually get someone to buy the Olivia Nuzzi book, I feel like most people already like feel like they know what the fuck is in that book, and they already know, and like they already know, like the Ryan, like it's more of the spectacle of like these unhinged.
What new gossip is there going to be in there?
Exactly. So it's kind of like an interactive media piece, and it doesn't, like, the book itself does not matter because she's become like an abstraction of herself.
No,
you heard about it everywhere.
Podcast.
You heard about it everywhere. What you didn't hear everywhere was people telling you to buy and read the book. You just heard about it.
Well, I listened to that Max's podcast with Derek Thompson as well, and like, the point he was making was that like,
you guys have a lot of free time, huh?
Going on podcasts is a terrible way to sell books because you're just putting all the ideas out there in the hour-long conversation. So it's why would I buy the book?
Lobotomy.
After lobotomy?
I'm saving abundance for after my lobotomy, yeah.
I'll
read it if I get COVID again.
I really don't understand abundance. I've had multiple people try to explain it to me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But, I think like going on podcasts and revealing too much about the book itself, and as someone who like interviews authors in multiple mediums about their books.
Also crying. Who cries?
Crying, yeah.
Who cries?
Podcast?
She cried on a podcast.
No crying in podcasting.
On it was on the
Bulwark.
On the Bulwark one with Tim Barber, right? Yeah.
Didn't she like leave? She like left that.
Oh
yeah.
I wouldn't have let her come back. I would have said goodbye.
Did she came back? What?
We're doing a sock puppet of you now because you left.
We're doing an AI version.
Do you think she'll do a subway tape?
I don't think she can do the subway tape
because they don't have that in LA.
They don't have. We actually.
If Kareem tries to leave New York State, he actually gets zapped.
We need Mayor Karen Bass to inaugurate one of our. We actually have metros in LA. So the Purple Line is being built. So she needs to be there for the first day of the Purple Line with Olivia Nuzzi. And she needs to like say one take about why it's okay if your lover has a brainworm. And like, that's the 4 minutes.
I want to pivot us off of Nuzzi here. Daniel, you're a prolific Letterboxd user, and I stalked your Letterboxd.
Oh God.
I particularly was drawn to your review of Weapons, the 2025 film, which your review in full is a movie about what Partyful.com is doing to all of us. Please say more.
Oh my God. So I hate Partyful. I fucking hate Partyful. And I have a Substack post called We Need to Talk About Partyful.
Welcome to the Resistance.
And I hated it before people were like, it's connected to Palantir. And I'm like, I didn't know that information. I just knew this shit was bad.
I sensed it.
I sensed it. But I just thought like Weapons to me, it was about being activated by a dark force or something like that. And I feel like Partyful is activating something really dark in all of us. And like you go on Partyful and Like the emojis really piss me off. The notifications really piss me off. It does feel demonic. And I remember when I wrote that essay for my Substack about Partiful, like I had a Partiful invite, and it was for my friend's picnic in Echo Park. And there was kind of like some like tension at the picnic because they were like, you wrote a Substack essay shading the platform we use to so graciously invite you to this event. And I was like, oh God, jeez.
Well, I think I said a lot of negative things on this podcast, but if I could say something positive, I really like the way Robbie Hoffman's press tour is going right now. And I saw a clip of her stand up on TikTok. She was talking about Partiful. She said, it's Robbie Hoffman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like invited to a grown man's birthday party on Partiful, but her take wasn't Partiful is bad. She actually took it further and said grown men shouldn't have birthday parties.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah. But my thing about her, I actually quote tweeted her Subway take. Rare engagement with Subway takes for me before we came on here. Even when she's wrong, she's right. The way that she expresses herself is so persuasive to me that I'm like, yep, she's right. Grown men shouldn't have birthday parties.
It's like a Fran Lebowitz thing. Like I don't know what that like you like I don't know what you're
Fran Lebowitz
saying,
really has a chokehold on you, Daniel.
I know. It's
why not do a Fran Lebowitz, Daniel? Doc? Oh, because she can't write.
Wow.
She could dictate it maybe to somebody.
Shots fired. Okay.
Maybe she could dictate it to Graydon.
Through a cigarette.
Full transparency. I've emailed Fran's publicist because she was performing at in the University of Irvine.
Why does she have a publicist?
I don't know.
Why don't I have a publicist? Wait, do I have one? I have two agents.
You're the publicist.
I have two agents.
I do want a publicist, but I feel like I would be.
I'll be your publicist, Daniel. Maybe we can just swap trade.
Swapped. I'll do it. Why not? Yeah. I'll do a pseudonym. But yeah, I actually saw Fran Lebowitz talk in University of Irvine. I wrote about it for study hall, and I compared it to when I was like really obsessed with Pokemon as a first grader, and my mom threw me like a Pokemon birthday party with like a petting zoo, like these lizards. There's this big Pokemon, and at the middle of the party, I was like, I'm over Pokemon, Mom. And she was,
you're like pulling her aside. You're like, hey, Mom, enough of this.
Mom, I'm done. And like in my history of being a Jewish American princess, like that was an early moment. But yeah, I guess when I was at I couldn't actually like interact with Fran Lebowitz content for like months and months and months
I'm
after
so sorry that happened
seeing her live because I was like, okay, this is such a shtick. But she was pretty charming live. Yeah.
Have you ever been invited to a Luma?
What is a Luma?
Luma. It's like the other Partiful, but to me, from what I can tell, the difference is that Lumas are things you pay for, and it's like you're buying a ticket to it. But it's like it's like extra evil Partiful.
I've used it.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like a lunar like let's all like watch the full moon with your polycule vibe but you have to pay $25 a month
celestial
for the service.
Dark patterns.
$25 for gas.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. I see the thing about Partiful, going back to my thought against Partiful, it's like I miss Facebook events because Facebook events was very straightforward of like, you're invited to this event and you could be quirky in the Facebook event.
Yeah.
And it was very
and we were like
contained.
21.
Yeah. We were 21. We were more willing to go to things. Yeah.
What's okay. Last thing on your letterbox. What's the worst movie you've seen this year?
Oh my God. The worst movie. Okay. So I'm the type of person who's like, the worst movie is also the best movie. So like, I just saw Ellen McKay, and that movie's such a mess. But I was like, that my letterbox review was like how I could watch it for like 8 more hours.
It's like The Materialist for your kids that did student gov.
Oh, we watched The Materialist like a week ago. Solid 2.5, maybe a 2. It was just such a like. It was just like you're kind of on a conveyor belt being moved through like a 2 degree above body temperature chamber for like a couple hours.
Yeah, I will watch anything with Dakota Johnson in it. Oh, I'll tell you that her open relationship movie. What's it called? The one Dakota Johnson.
It's called like Splitsville.
Splitsville. I would say that was I was looking up Splitsville. Splitsville, worst movie I saw this year.
So also the best.
No,
actually, this is not a 5-star, 3-star movie.
That was actually so bad that I wasn't charmed by it. I was like, this is fucking stupid. This is a stupid movie. And that was, I think, my least favorite.
Did you turn any movies off this year? Like or leave the theater?
So I never leave the theater. If it's the Titanic, like Larry David once said, like with friendships, he's like that. Like he goes down with the ship. I'm like that with the movie. I'm AMC A-list. My fiance is also AMC A-list. The stakes are low because you're just locked in and like you don't really pay. So like I'll really see anything.
I've never watched it.
So this is like the millennial timeshare.
It is kind of a timeshare, yeah. And
you're locked in, your space is already paid for, might as well go see some slop.
Go see some slop. Yeah, exactly. But I think turning off something, the last show, I was like, I actually do not know how I'll finish this. Is All's Fair. I stopped at episode 7 and I was like, this is actually exceptionally really, really bad. Ryan Murphy might need to like
this
go to the
House
Kardashian. Yeah, he might need to testify in Congress about this one. It's like really bad, but it's really bad.
The last show I didn't finish, I watched like I think the first 2 seasons of The Bear, and then I finished the second season and realized I never needed to boot that up again.
I did the same thing.
The Bear, yeah. So I think season 1 of The Bear is, I would say that show was not about restaurants. It was about workaholics and people who are like, who have like an existential breakdown at like 11 a.m. because like an email went bad. And like you want it to be in a restaurant because like if it was at a restaurant, like you don't have to explain Google Docs. It's like a good sandwich. Everyone likes good sandwiches. Not everyone likes like your essay. So like that's what that show is about. And I stopped after season 1 too because I was like, I'm good with this. I'm good with this.
I feel like everyone likes good sandwiches. Not everyone likes your essay. Is a perfect note to end this podcast on.
That's it.
Daniel, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I had such a good time.
Perfect. Listener, we'll see you next week.